Hi everybody, my name is Richard Sprout. I'm the owner of Kempton Men's Hair Salon in Irvine and Costa Mesa. I grew up in South Africa, and my father's hobby was restoring classic British cars, and eventually led to motorcycles as he got older. And about when I was 15 years old, I went with him out to a farm in the middle of nowhere, and we bought an old, I don't remember the year, but it was a AJS 500cc single. It was black and chrome and aluminum, and it was just beautiful. And we brought it home and we worked on it and got it running, and he taught me to ride on the bike. And then from then on, I guess the seed was planted, and he just started traveling around the country buying classic British motorcycles, and we would restore them in the garage. And so I learned to ride at 15, and the collection got bigger and bigger. Mostly Nortons, BSAs, a couple of Triumphs. We had a Triton at one point, a few Commandos, Norton Atlas, a Norton Dominator, BSA Lightning, BSA Thunderbolt, and a couple of smaller ones. All great bikes to learn on. The electronics are minimal. Most of them had a magneto ignition, so simple bikes to work on, great stuff to learn about. And that's where I guess I got my hands dirty the first time. And I've had a love-hate relationship with it, because the old British bikes, you do wind up pushing them home a lot, especially when you're restoring them and learning. But you get better and better, and the replacement parts got better. And that was that. Around 17 years old, I got my first motorcycle that I bought myself. It was a 50cc Honda MBX, and my father passed when he was 57. I was 17 years old, and my younger brother and I inherited this collection of about, I think, 12 motorcycles, all in various states of disrepair or running. And we managed to put a bunch of them together, sell them off, and at 19 I relocated, moved out to the US, and created my bike up with the hope that one day I would have enough money to ship it out to the States. And a couple of years later, I managed to get that right. But I didn't have a license, and I didn't have money, I didn't have a garage, and I didn't have insurance. So it took a while before I got all of that together. 2018 or 2019 was the first time I ever had the right combination of money, a license, insurance, and space to keep a bike in a garage. And that is when I got my first, I would say, modern motorcycle, and that was a Ducati Panigale V2, which was incredible. So the bike that I brought over was a 1957 Norton Dominator in 99. It was a 600cc, and it was in pristine condition, and it kind of broke my heart riding it around here. The brakes are terrible on it, and the roads, even though we're in Orange County, aren't that good. And freeways are congested, so it's a bike that handles really well in the corners, and there's not really windy, twisty roads around here that are safe with low traffic. So I spent a lot of time in the garage, and I was just feeling guilty about it. And I decided that it's a beautiful piece of history, and that people should be able to enjoy it and talk about it and see it. So I brought it down to the first salon that we opened, and there just so happened to be a space in the window, and I put it in the front there for people to see, and guys just kept stopping by. And of course it was all guys with gray hair, and they'd come in and say, "Oh man, I had one of those bikes, and oh, it was the best years of my life." And then they would want to come and talk stories about it, and I just thought, what a great piece to have. And when we opened the next salon, I thought, well, I should get another bike to put in there. And a friend of mine had the same situation with this bike you see in the background here. This is a Triumph Tiger 650 from 1971. Obviously it's been converted to a bobber. His was sitting in the garage at home, and no one was appreciating it, so we asked if I'd put it here and let people enjoy it. So here we are. All right, so the story with the Norton Dominator, I built that with my father as a teenager, and about 2 years later he died when I was 17. and that was our project. And I learned to ride, I learned to corner, I learned to do everything on that bike. I moved out to the States, eventually shipped it out here, and I was taking care of it, but I felt guilty that it was sitting in the garage, rusting, because we lived down by the coast. And I decided in opening our new salon that, you know, I like to prepare for the worst, and I figured there could be some lean months ahead of us, and the bike is rather valuable. And I figured that my old man wouldn't have a problem if I sold it to keep the family afloat and to keep the business alive. So I was in the process of putting some new clutch cables on it and new tires, and I had the head off of it, and I'm in the garage, and I guess at the time he was about 5 years old, my son Reese walked up to me, and he got on his haunches and he said, "Hey Dad, I think I should learn to work on one of these bikes just in case I get one day." And I guess that for me was the sign that there was no ways I could sell the bike and that the business had to work. So that was it. That was the thing that my son and I did together, and the reason I bought another British bike, a Triumph, is so that him and I can have the same experience that I had with my father. And I'm looking forward to it. He's 12 years old now, and he's getting to the point where he's going to have to start to learn to ride, and I'm so excited to share that with him. All right, now you guys know my motorcycle and history and pedigree. As I mentioned, it was a project with my son. I've recently bought a Triumph Tiger 900 Rally Pro that I hope to see the country on and take my son on unforgettable adventures. So let's go and check that one out. This bike for me, standard, is perfectly fine height-wise or ground clearance. There are settings for the seat to make it higher or lower. I have been really happy with the quick shifting, especially riding off-road, not having to have your hand constantly working the clutch all the time. I spend most of the time in second gear, but if I wanted to get to first gear really quickly, I could just tap it while I'm standing up riding. It's a comfortable bike. The seat is really comfortable. It's meant to sit in. You know, a sport bike, not so much. It's meant for the track and that's it. The riding position on a sport bike is not comfortable at all, but it is fun. And I'm over 40 now and I have a back injury. So for me, it was important that I find a bike that, one, is fun to ride, and two, is soft and gentle and easy on my body. And I found that in this Triumph in the Tiger. From what everyone else offered, it was superior to anyone else. This came standard with all the other add-ons that other people didn't have, which would have cost thousands more. I like the fact that this is a triple instead of a twin. It's got loads of torque, but it's a very refined, smooth ride. Lots of power down low, no problem cruising at freeway speeds. Being a 900, it's light enough. I was a little bit hesitant to get a shaft drive. I also didn't want a 1200cc bike. This has everything I wanted in a bike, and also I wanted to try something new. I want to see the country and I want to travel around. When I bought the bike from Jimmy, he said that he was moving back to town, and I said, look, I don't know any place to ride, but I'd love to. I'm new to this. And he said, oh no, he knows a couple places we should go. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. He said, hey, I'm going to get a bunch of other people involved in it. And we have a core group of about 7 or 8 people right now, and more keep coming. And we're going on rides and stuff from practicing here in the parking lot, and going camping and doing a little bit more technical stuff on trails. Jimmy is very knowledgeable in riding skills, and he's an amazing teacher. We have beginner bikers all the way through to people. I mean, I would say about 30 years in the saddle. So it's all new, but as long as you're willing to learn and try new stuff, it's been great. So hopefully the club grows and we get to go on some awesome rides. Riding by yourself, it's okay, but riding with a group is fun, especially if you have a problem or you break a chain or you run out of gas or you need some water. Having a group there to support you is fun. It's an expensive bike and it's a beautiful bike, and if you're riding on trails and you're learning, sooner or later you're going to dump it. So, you know, there's a small price to pay to protect my investment in such a beautiful bike, but other than that, there's really nothing that needs to be done to it. It's all there. Another thing that's worth mentioning, obviously this bike came with street tires on it. which to me seemed a little bit weird because I thought I'm buying an off-road adventure bike. After getting to know her a little bit, coming back from an off-road ride, I was getting on a freeway on-ramp, and it was one of those beautiful round ones with the banked corners, and I thought, hey, let me see what she's got. I went into the corner, opened it up, and if you look on the bottom over here, this little nub on the bottom, I managed to ground into the concrete. So I was leaned pretty far over, and it felt stable, just like a street bike. So I got no problem leaving the street tires on just for now. I'm gonna get a couple of thousand miles out of them, and then I'll change over to the dirt ones. But this handles like a street bike, but with a buttery soft suspension. And if you want to learn more about riding or trails, check out the YouTube channel. All right, that's all said. Now you know why I bought the bike. Let's go take it for a ride.
Holy Gym Trail, Trubico Canyon. I got my boy Rich right here, first time off-road. Just got this beautiful Tiger 900 Rally Pro, and we're gonna show him how to do it in the dirt. So feet on the pegs, ass back, get that duck stance so that your feet and your knees are jammed up in there, so anytime you bend, you're really pushing on the tank there. Good. And then you want a nice light touch on the grips. So elbows out, so you can absorb those bumps, chest a little forward, nice light touch on the grips. And when bumps and stuff come, you want to absorb it. You want to use your body weight to like a big shock absorber. So anytime a rock kicks you this way, you want to counterbalance it with your body. Huge shock absorber up here. So let's do a little bit of practice, and you can work out the standing position before we head on out. All right. We're going to take it out of road mode and put it in off-road mode. So go ahead and click that. And
it should come up there, yeah?
Yep, it's up now. Yep. That's what I was saying. Traction control, ABS on the back wheels turned off. You're ready to rip it up.
Alright, so that was a quick spin up and down the block on the Triumph Tiger 900 Rally Pro. If you are interested in joining or getting to know more about adventure motorcycle riding, come on down to OC Motorcycle and speak to Jimmy, and he'll take care of you. Thanks a lot.